Good evening and welcome to Tuesday Folk People. My name is Maddie Leedham, and this evening we're going to be talking to something of a folk legend, the wonderful Maggie Holland. A professional musician since the early 70s, Maggie has been involved with multiple bands and projects, including the duo Hot Vultures with Ian A. Anderson, the English country blues band, Tiger Moth, the Broonsies, and many more, before beginning a successful solo career. In 2000, Maggie won the BBC Radio 2 Folk Award for Best Original Song with her folk song This Is England. This song has gone on to become a standard in modern folk repertoires and covered by artists such as June Tabor, Martin Carthy, and the Young Guns. Along with her expert songwriting and extensive touring around countries across the world, Maggie has been involved in numerous other projects, including a 3-month run in the National Theatre production of Tony Harrison's Mysteries trilogy. So without further ado, I'm delighted to welcome the wonderful Maggie Holland to our online studio. Hello Maggie, how are you doing?
Hi, Maddie, I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. It's great to have you on Tuesday Folk People. It's brilliant. Right. Are you currently in Scotland?
Oh. I am, yes. I'm in Leith, which is the port of Edinburgh. That's where I live. I've lived here for quite a number of years now.
It's nice. It's really nice. I've only been once, but I loved it. And so I want to go back very soon, if possible. Right, should we have your first song so that our audience can be reminded or be introduced to your music? So this is Cold Night on Bernard Street. What's this song about?
Specifically, it's one I wrote. It's quite relevant to being in Leith. I wrote it after we moved here. So I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. I'm quite slow at songwriting. And it concerns a statue of Rabbie Burns, which stood on Bernard Street and Constitution Street Junction.
They put you out on Bernard Street 100 years ago. A plaid across your shoulders against the winter snows, standing like a statue, one arm across your breast, till my imagination disturbed you from your rest. I saw you blink and stretch your arms, step down to the street, and walk towards the lighted bar, stamping your cold feet. To the lost boys in the ale house, you look quite out of place, with your sparkling eye and merry air, and your bonny ploughboy's face. When you'd ordered just a dram, for the sake of auld lang syne, they turned back to their glowing screen and the killing of their time. The minutes died so slowly, you had your fiddle there, so you modestly suggested they might like to hear an air. The landlord said, I'm deaf myself, so it's all the same to me. But on the whole, the boys prefer to watch their MTV. They need to hear their mobiles. Later there's the match. They've deals to make and bets to place, and they've all got backs to watch. And it wouldn't do to make them think of just how much they've lost. They know the price of everything, but they never count the cost. Now I know your name's above my door, your portrait's on the stair, a poem on every tabletop, so it's not like we don't care. We celebrate your birthday with haggis and good cheer, but it's mostly for the tourists now who sometimes stray down here. Could try round at Noble's, you could try along the shore. We don't find that there's much call for music anymore. So silently you drained your glass and left without a word. No one in that alehouse bar so much as turned his head. The landlord took a cloth, started polishing the bar. You took up your post again beneath the icy stars. So fare you well, my bonny lad, farewell for a while. Oh, I will love thee still, my dear, though it were 10,000 miles.
What a great song. The thing that really struck me there was that it kind of put things into perspective. It made me, it's just the power of the song, it made me want to throw away my phone and my TV and just almost like live in the moment, because just the way that you describe it, it almost makes me feel like, oh, what a waste of life. It is a waste, all this technology and screens and stuff.
Yes, I realised how old the song must be, because we just about had mobile phones when I wrote it, but the old brick-like variety. And yes, the guys in the pub were watching MTV, which may be a sort of historical artifact now. I'm not
No,
sure if
it's
it's
still
still.
here. I'm pretty sure it's still around. Yeah. The
But that,
song's aged well.
oh, good. Anyway, and Rabi's songs and poetry age extremely well. So bless him, he's still much quoted and much sung.
But this was sung, have I got this right, that this was sung by June Tabor?
I think she might have sung it. She might have sung it on a few gigs. She hasn't. I don't think she's recorded it. She's done a few of mine, but yes, I think she may have sung this on some gigs, but I'm not sure. Have to ask June.
And this is from the album Circle of Light, isn't it? 2003 album.
Yes.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Oh, it's just great. Okay, so I wanted to now discuss how you got into folk in the first place. What was it that kind of guided you to the folk scene?
When I was a teenager, growing up in a small town in Hampshire, I used to go out to the church youth club, because it's the only one there was. And there were some lads there who said, you ought to come to somebody starting a folk club. You ought to come to that. And I went along to that. And I was amazed. People got up out of the audience and just played. In fact, the guy sitting next to me got up, went to the front, sang a couple of songs, came back again. I thought, this is good. I like this. So I got a guitar, and yeah, the rest is history.
And this was around the time that there was like there was a huge focus on folk, wasn't it? There were young people everywhere getting involved. Is that right?
Um, yes, yeah, I guess yes. But
Yeah, and
we weren't terribly aware of it in our small town.
was there not really a big folk scene there then?
It was just a little folk club, and we used to have guests every couple of weeks who probably came down all the way from London. People like Wiz Jones and various traditional singers, blues players, all sorts.
Hmm. Have you noticed a difference in the scene from then to now?
As far as I know now, there is no scene. That's partly the pandemic, of course. I mean, everything closed completely, but it was very much reduced anyway, because as well as the folk clubs, in the 70s there was quite a huge network of from the point of view of doing gigs, a lot of work in students' unions. Students were interested in acoustic music, apparently, in those days, and I don't know if that, I doubt if that outlet still exists, and there are very few folk clubs, I
I
think.
think with young people there is still a scene sort of, but it's almost
Yeah,
more hybrid folk. So
yeah,
it's not ever really the traditional stuff, but it's if you mix folk with indie or folk and rock or
yes,
something, that's when it tends to translate to the younger generation now,
yes,
which it's a bit of a shame really, because obviously the traditional scene is just amazing and there's just so much to it. Um, but your songs, for example, they've aged well, as you've said, and they translate really well to the current society. So it's things like that I think that have the potential to infiltrate the younger generation now, because they could understand it and it does speak to them.
it would be a nice thought. I mean, I do generally when I if I do a gig, I mean a whole concert, um, at least half the songs I do would be by other writers, and there are some fantastic songs that I I want to sing. I want people to hear,
Mm.
um, but that's very difficult on a platform like this to do because of the infernal permissions and whatnot. So
Mm.
yes, what scene there is very much people just doing their own stuff, and I think it it means it lacks a dimension, personally.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go a bit more back to your career. And when I was doing research on you, I was going through all the bands that you've been in, and there's just so many. You're in so many,
Hmm.
and so I wanted to go through and say each of them, and then you very briefly just tell me kind of what the band was. Just summarize each band. Is that okay if we do that now? So
Sure.
I was
Yeah.
going to go through. So first one that you were in, Hot Vultures. What was
Hmm.
this?
It was just a duo, myself and Ian Anderson. Um, we were then also married, as it happens, but uh, Ian played guitar and sang normal guitar and slide guitar, and I played mostly electric bass and a bit of guitar and eventually a bit of banjo and sang as well. It was just a duo, but we all through the 70s, we were working pretty solidly, little clubs, the student union circuit, and a lot of gigs in Germany, West Germany as it was then, and Belgium and the Netherlands. That was our really, I think financially, the European touring sustained us, and that was pretty much through the 70s. Yeah,
And then that became the English Country Blues Band, didn't it?
it did. That was myself and Ian still, with the addition of Rod Stradling, traditional melodeon playing. He has been called a guru of
Oh.
English melodeon players. Yes, Rod Stradling, wonderful melodeon player, and Sue Harris, who was playing hammer dulcimer, and she was subsequently replaced by Chris Coe. And we, yeah, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, was the sound very similar to the Hot Vultures, or was it quite?
No, quite different. Yeah, yes.
How did they differ?
Well, because of the different instrumentation and also very
Ah.
different music we were playing.
Okay.
Hard to
And
describe.
then you were in Tiger Moth. I love that name. What is that one?
That was an expansion again of the English Country Blues Band. Same personnel plus our wonderful and beloved drummer, John Maxwell, and brilliant guitarist called John Moore, electric guitarist. And we were a very loud barn dance band. Yes. The
Nice.
I don't know, the heavy metal end of barn dance music, I think.
Brilliant. And then you were in The Vacant Lot. What's this one?
That was just local to where I was living in. Well, I moved from Farnham to Oxford during the time Vacant Lot existed, but it was still fairly local, in kind of North Hampshire, southwest Surrey, Berkshire. Vacant Lot was just a little barn dance band for just dancing, local things like, we did a lot of PTAs, occasional wedding parties, all sorts of things, just in village halls and school halls all
Yeah.
around.
And then you had Maggie's Farm.
Yeah, that happened after I'd moved to Oxford. By then I had Ian and I had parted ways. I moved to Oxford, and Maggie's Farm was just an attempt at making a band that was just me fronting it, really. John Moore, ex Tiger Moth, well, still in Tiger Moth, and a keyboard player called Kevin Mason, and we were just doing trio songs. Most notable, I think, for Maggie's Farm was that we never recorded. We did do a 10-day tour of Bangladesh for the British Council.
Oh, wow.
That was quite memorable. Yes, we were part of the British Council had got us in because it was part of they were running it was going around the world, a photographic exhibition called A Woman's Place, and there were amazing photographs of women all over the world doing stuff, and so they got a band with a female front person.
A Woman's Place.
The Woman's Place.
And then the final band that I've got written down is the Broonsies.
The Broonsies, yes. Well, excellent plan. The brainchild of my old pal Jez Lowe, and Jez suggested we got a band together, and we indeed did some gigs, very enjoyable. Myself, Jez, Chris Parkinson, Hugh. There was a change of bass player. Rod Clements, anyway, and bass player. Can't remember his name. So sorry.
That's okay.
The initial one. He was replaced by Hugh Bradley, and Rod Clements indeed was replaced because he and the bass player decided to revitalise Lindisfarne. So, yes, we only did a few gigs with both lineups actually. So, and we never got to record, and of course the pandemic occurred, and so don't know if we don't know if it'll happen again. Really don't. It was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, it sounds it. I mean, I was just thinking, it's not your average Joe whose life is punctuated by the different bands they're in. It's like literally every stage of your life has a different band, and it's just an amazing way of looking back, I think. Fantastic. Well, I think it's time we have your second song, which is Divers and Lazarus. Can you tell us what this one is?
I just learned this recently during lockdown. I just thought I'd learn it because I've pretty well taken the arrangement that Nick Jones did, which just to put it on guitar, I love it. And also, I'd heard Divers and Lazarus several times. The version, was it 5 arrangements of Divers and Lazarus? Is it Vaughan Williams? I think, yeah. I'd been listening to that and thinking, what a belter of a tune it is. And anyway, yes, when I looked at the original words of the song, there's some imagery in there which is just wonderful. The language is very colourful and very biblical, and it reminds me of the sort of the atmosphere of somewhere in between bands, about 1986 probably. I sang in the National Theatre's production of The Mysteries, Tony Harrison's Mysteries, when it had a 3-month run at the Lyceum. And there's a similar sort of rather extreme portrayal of the Bible stories in The Mysteries. A lot of it very humorous. Obviously not the passion part of it, which is very disturbing, but hence when I sing in Divers and Lazarus about Lazarus getting to sit upon an angel's knee, I always think of the angel Gabriel in The Mysteries, who was at the time got his name, Derek Thompson, yeah, later famous as Charlie in Casualty, I think.
Okay.
And he's when I think about sitting on an angel's knee, I think, oh yeah, I remember the angel Gabriel.
Let's hear the song.
As it fell out all on one day, rich divers he held a feast. He's invited all his friends and gentry of the best. As it fell out all on one day, Lazarus he was so poor, he went and he laid him down and down, even down at Diver's door. Lazarus, he laid him down and down, even down at Diver's hall. Some meat, some drink, brother Divers, or surely starve I shall. You are not my brother Lazarus, lying begging at my hall. No meat, no drink shall I give to you, so surely starve you shall. And Divers sent out his merry men all, for to whip poor Lazarus away. They had not the power to strike one blow, so they threw their whips away. Divers sent out his hungry dogs, for to bite poor Lazarus away. They found not the power to bite one bite, so they licked his wounds away. And as it fell out all on one day, Lazarus he sickened and died. There came two angels out of heaven, his soul thereto to guide. Rise up, brother Lazarus, go along with we. There is a place prepared for you, for to sit upon an angel's knee. And as it fell out all on one day, Divers sickened and died. There came two serpents out of hell, his soul thereto to guide. Rise up, brother Divers, go along with we. There is a place prepared for you, for to rot in eternity.
Okay, well, listening to it just then, picturing Charlie from Casualty as the angel, rather than when I heard the song before, it's kind of given it a different perspective, I think. Yeah, but it's a great song. I was reading up on it a bit, and it's been very popular as a
Yeah,
traditional song, from what I've
yeah,
seen.
yeah. It's always the tune is also it's used for lots of other things. The Star of the County Down, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
and lots of
yeah.
others, I'm sure, that I can't bring to mind.
But I read that apparently it was very popular with folk, because obviously folk was generally in the working class and
Hmm.
stuff in the past, because they could see themselves going to heaven and then they're really evil landowners or whatever going to hell, and they
Yeah,
enjoyed it. They sang it as a Christmas song a lot. That's what I heard.
yes, yeah.
It was fantastic though. It was
Good,
it's
good.
and I really like your rendition of it. It's just
Thank
really
you.
good. So going back to the bands that you're in, obviously we listed them all. I'm just curious about which one you enjoyed your time in the most, which one you preferred.
Oh, that's hard to say, really. For pure enjoyment on a gig, I suppose I would say Tiger Moth, just because we were so loud. It was, yes, great fun.
And I
Yeah.
guess also having a load of people dancing along is
Yeah,
just the
yes,
best
that's
feeling.
right. Sort of tiny, less pressure on the musicians actually when people are having to fling themselves about. Whereas if you're doing something, if you're singing something, you have to be completely focused and right there with the words. It's well, I wouldn't say harder work, but it's more concentration, definitely.
Yeah.
But Tiger Moth was just cracking good fun.
Brilliant. And you said that you toured quite extensively over the years, all over the world really, with each different band. Did you have a favourite place to play in?
Oh, definitely Belgium. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Flanders. Yeah, best audiences, best beer by a mile.
And that is important when you're touring.
Oh, well, it was difficult because I was generally driving. I was the driver for all those years, and
Oh.
yeah, I had to generally try a bit and get some to take home and sample it there.
I have to say that is probably the worst job, being the tour driver.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
I was that driver. Yes.
have you been to Belgium recently? Is it still a good place to perform?
I'm sure it would be, but even pandemic aside, Brexit has meant it won't be possible for me to go there anymore to play. It's just not viable. There would be additional costs, forms to be filled in. I have no idea, but something unviable on the sort of fees I would get, just
Yeah,
impossible.
that's a
So no,
shame.
it's closed to me. And So I mean, I look forward to going to Belgium again because I still got lots of friends there. But uh, I
Mm.
doubt I'll be able to play there again.
Right. Because I was going to say, obviously, you say it's got the best audiences and it's just a
Yep.
great place to play. So I was going to say, any musicians watching this, get yourself to Belgium. But now it doesn't look like it's so
Not.
easy.
I'm fine if you're if you're an Irish citizen or otherwise EU enabled, but
Yeah,
not for anyone who's a citizen of the UK, unfortunately.
such a shame.
Hmm.
Okay, so you've obviously, as we said, been in bands, but you have a very prolific solo career as well. Before we go into that, I just wanted to ask what you prefer. Do you prefer to be a soloist or a band member?
Um, oh, I don't know. Different. It's different. I enjoy both. Um, I enjoy being solo because then I can do whatever I want, you know. Whereas in a band, one is always compromising and
Hmm.
choosing repertoire, and sometimes having to sing things in not quite the right key because it fits with somebody else's instrument. Yeah. So no, I like both. I like both.
Well, good, excellent. Be sad if you didn't. Right then. So now I want to talk a bit about your songwriting. We've heard one of your songs. Oh no, have we heard two? No, yeah, we've heard
No, just one.
one, just one. We've got more to come. I lost track of how many we've had. And obviously got an idea of just how great you are. But I wanted to kind of explore what themes you tend to look at.
I just I find songwriting quite hard, and songs take me a long time. I'm not very prolific. Um, can't say I enjoy the process actually. And generally, the only thing that gets me to write a song is if I get quite angry about something. Yes.
Have you written one about Belgium not being able to perform in Belgium yet?
No, not yet. No. I remember, yes, somebody else who's a very unprolific songwriter is Martin Carthy, and I remember we both wrote a song out of the same feeling of rage. He wrote a song called Company Policy about the Falklands War, and I wrote a song called Perfumes of Arabia about the first Gulf War, which actually he recorded, bless him. And yeah, they're both from the same sense of just impotent rage. Very recognizable to me.
Is that something that you do then? Do you write a lot of political songs, or is that just a one-off?
I don't know. I don't know what you call political. You might say, some might say that the song I think we're going to hear last, Place Called England, some might say that's political, but some might say not. Couldn't possibly
we'll let our
comment.
audience decide.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
when you hear it, comment in the comment below whether it's political or not. we'll have a debate. Excellent. So it sounds like your songwriting isn't really done. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not really like, right, today I'm writing a song because I need to have a new song for my new album, doing that. It's purely just because, is it almost like therapeutic? Like, so when you're filled with rage, it helps you write.
Yes, well, once it's done and you can sing it, then yes, that does help with the rage quotient. Yeah. Yes, I'm never quite sure if a song is finished or not. I think most songwriters would say the same. But once it seems almost finished, I'll try singing it and see how it goes. Yeah.
That's so interesting, though, that you've written some excellent songs that, I mean, A Place Called England has won the BBC Radio 2 Best Song Award or something, wasn't it, in 2000 or 1999?
Yes.
So clearly, even though you're not trying to write these amazing songs, you just do it. And I think that it's fascinating to see this correlation between, like, you don't really enjoy it, it's not something that you strive to do, but you do it and you create something amazing. It's like the complete opposite of commercialism almost. And it just shows just how good it can be, not having that money driven or success driven.
Oh yes, I'm certainly not money driven.
Yeah, I feel like most folk musicians aren't. Well, actually, no, I take that back.
No, we can't be.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no money.
Exactly. So do you have a favourite song that you've written? Is there any that you're really, really proud of?
Well, actually, there's another one which I haven't recorded yet. Well, the most recent song I wrote, I suppose, which was I don't know quite why, but it's called Blood Like Wine. It's really about the G7 meeting that took place in Gleneagles quite a number of years ago. Anyway, I haven't recorded it yet, so.
Oh, well, I look forward to hearing it when it is recorded. That'll be good.
Frankly, in normal times, I do quite a few of Rob Johnson's fine songs, and he's very prolific. He's the opposite of me. I rely on him to produce sort of articulate songs about current issues much faster than I ever could.
So who do you think is the best songwriter that you know?
Bob Dylan.
A classic. Yeah.
No question. No question.
And what's your reason for that?
I just think he's the best. I do many of his songs. The breadth and depth of his lyrics is astonishing, and he's been doing it for yes. He would have been one of the first people whose I learned to song by in about 1966, 67, and he's just kept going.
Yeah. I think I would agree. I think Bob Dylan is definitely one of the best. I think everyone would agree. If you don't agree, comment below why. Just starting all these debates in the comments. Yeah. Okay, so I think, should we go for your third song, which is Black Crow? What's this song about?
Black Crow. I was thinking, in fact, I think it was probably after we came back from Bangladesh, where we'd seen a lot of, poverty, obviously, but also a lot of amazing resilience and determination. Amazing people, the Bangladeshis. And I thought, just the thought of, it's the refrain in the song, it's an ill wind blows nobody good, that whatever horrible things are happening in the world, and that's anywhere, anything, there's always somebody who is going to be able to make a quick buck out of it. Always somebody. So, and you can think almost any disaster, tragedy, there'll be somebody who can turn it to their advantage and make some money out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why the crows occurred to me. Oh, well, yes, I saw a couple of crows sitting in a little withered tree in Sainsbury's car park in Oxford. Yes. And then when we were in Bangladesh in Chittagong, rather than Dhaka, Chittagong, there seemed to be a huge number of crows about. I dread to think, I don't know if they were carrion crows. Yeah. And Chittagong, that's near where now, down at Cox's Bazar, there's huge numbers of the Rohingya refugees who've come in from Myanmar. Yes, unthinkable. Anyway, disasters go on, but people continue to always turn it to their advantage somehow. You can probably think of your own examples, possibly in Britain today, but I couldn't possibly come.
There's a black crow sitting in an old dead tree. I looked at him, he looked at me. Where are you going to dine today? Thought I'd try the motorway. Black crow in the neighbourhood, it's an ill wind blows nobody good. Little girl lost in town today. Man in a big car took her away. Mother's grief and father's rage. Copy for a good front page. Black crow in the neighbourhood. It's an ill wind blows nobody good. Hungry farmer works his field, praying for a better yield. If the junkie pays the price, means his kids can eat some rice. Black crow in the neighbourhood, it's an ill wind blows nobody good. Black crow in the neighbourhood, it's an ill wind blows nobody good. Working hard on a prison farm ain't never done no man no harm. Have to tend the orange trees, we all like our vitamin C. Black crow in the neighbourhood, it's an ill wind blows nobody good. Black crow in the neighbourhood, it's an ill wind blows nobody good. Strangest picture I ever seen, blood red sun on a field of green. How much did that cost, I cried, only 1,000,000 human lives. Black crow in the neighbourhood, it's an ill wind blows nobody good. Black crow in the neighbourhood, it's an ill wind blows nobody good. There's a black crow sitting in an old dead tree. I looked at him, he looked at me. Where are you going to dine today? Thought I'd try the motorway. Black crow in the neighbourhood, it's an ill wind blows nobody good. Black crow in the neighbourhood, it's an ill wind blows nobody good. It's an ill wind blows nobody good. It's an ill wind blows nobody good.
What a great song. I love the imagery in it. And even though it's obviously kind of, I don't know, you comment on something that's quite not negative, but it has the potential to make you feel a bit despairing and like, oh, but I don't feel that. Like I've got the thing that you disguise it so well in the music that you don't feel depressed after listening
Oh,
to the song.
good,
And it's
good.
the same with your latest song, A Place Called England. There's themes in that. I won't go into too much detail because we'll go into it in a minute. But again, you kind of just disguise it, and it makes it an easier pill to swallow. I think the things that you're saying, it's just
Good.
it's good. Now, are you counting that as a political song?
Oh, I don't count anything as political or non-political. I don't really categorize things. Like, I don't categorize myself as any kind of singer. I mean, if utterly pushed, people say, "What kind of a singer are you?" I suppose I wouldn't say a folk singer. I suppose I would have to revert to the 60s and say, well, I guess I'm a protest singer. Most things I do protesting in some way or another.
Yeah, but I think that that's good. It gives your music purpose. So it is like with your songs. Yes, you say that it's when you're filled with some kind of emotion that's when you write, but at least it feels like you're doing something productive at the end. You've got something that could potentially make a change to the thing that you're angry about. And I think that that's when like songwriting becomes I can't remember the word. It's when it becomes kind of useful and imperative. Probably the wrong words, but I can't think of the right word right now. I've blanked. But something like that. Okay, so we've mentioned a couple of times throughout the interview your song "A Place Called England." Now we've saved this one to last because I think that this is the big guns, really. How did you get to writing this song?
Traveling, living when I moved to Scotland, I was still traveling up and down to England, to the south of England, frequently for work, various music work, but also I have over the years I've done a lot of work with the Open University because I have the facility to do a certain amount of maths. That's always useful for somebody who's trying to make a living as a musician. Maths tutoring is much more stable and, well, lucrative, really. It's steady anyway. So I've been traveling up and down to England a great deal. So I was either sitting on a train for 5 hours looking out of the window, or driving sometimes. Particularly the train was very productive, thinking about allotments, really. I've had an allotment for many years, got one in Leith, but friends down south have allotments as well, and yes, so a lot of things came together, rather. I mean, the song has loads of quotations from different writers' songs. Almost every other line is a quote from somebody.
It's a good way of songwriting.
Well, yes,
Because
yes.
if it's a quote, then it's already
Yes.
written for you.
Yes.
Fantastic. And this has been performed quite widely by
Yes, quite
other
a few
people.
people.
Could you name a few that we might have heard of?
Well, June Tabor is obvious one. I think she did the first recorded version apart from mine. And quite a few people have told me that they sing it on gigs, or they've made recordings, not necessarily that I've heard, but trying to think. In fairly recent years, the young uns have done their unaccompanied 3-part harmony excellent version.
Mm.
So no, that's great. And yeah, a very long time ago, I think possibly after June had recorded it, I got a very polite message, an email from the bagman of a Morris side, asking if I would mind if they did a dance to the tune of A Place Called England. And I said, please carry on, be my guest. I mean, at the time, I was rather perturbed. I didn't know if I'd nicked the tune from somewhere, but I don't think I did. It's quite like a lot of traditional tunes. But I ran it past several of my most knowledgeable chums who play for Morris dancing and that kind of thing, and they said, no, it's a bit like so and so. No, it's different. Anyway,
That's
so
the
as far as
biggest
I know,
gamble.
yes, as far as I know, there may still be a Morris side dancing to it.
Wow. And could you show us the folk award that you got
Oh,
for it?
yes, which I found is just looming up on the top. Oh dear, need to dust it. There he is.
Wow. How did it
So,
feel when you were nominated for that, or awarded that, not even nominated?
BBC Radio 2 Folk Awards 2000 Best Original Song. It says.
Well
I've
done,
forgotten the
then.
year. Well, it's great. I was very surprised, utterly astonished. Yes, and we went down to a big awards ceremony in London. It was only, I remember being sad though, because it was the day after, a couple of days after, an old friend, musician who I greatly admired, was very fond of, a man called Daryl Adams. He had passed away in his home in Antwerp in Belgium. Just a couple of days before, and so I was feeling very sad about Daryl, but it was nice to get the wee man. I think they make the I forget the name of the artist who makes the little mannequins. They're from recycled material anyway.
Ah, nice. That is just the dream for every folk singer-songwriter, I think. to get that award. There it is. Amazing. So how did this song help your career?
I don't know that it did really. No, I can't say that it helped at all. I mean, I've never, as a soloist, I've never had that many gigs, and I haven't made that many albums, and that's all kind of dried up recently. So no, I can't say it. It may have given me a bit of no, I don't think it accelerated my career prospects at all.
You say this after just holding up the award. That is just.
Well, yes, but I mean that's it,
That's
really.
an amazing thing to have.
But well, that's it. It hasn't had any other effect.
It's fantastic, and I mean, I hope that. Well, I can't wait to hear your new song that you haven't recorded yet. That'd be fantastic. Unfortunately, we are running out of time now, so we're going to have to move on to actually listening to A Place Called England. But before we do hear it, and before we end this interview, I just want to say thank you very, very much for talking to us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you, Maddie. Thank you very much.
I rode out on a bright May morning like a hero in a song. I was looking for a place called England, trying to find where I come from. Couldn't find the old flood meadow or the house that I once knew. No trace of the little river or the garden where I grew. I saw town and I saw country, motorway and sink estate, rich man in his rolling acres, poor man still outside the gate, retail park and burger kingdom, prairie field and factory farm, run by men who think that England's only a place to park their car. But as the train pulled from the station, through the wastelands of despair, from the corner of my eye, a brightness filled the filthy air. Someone's grown a patch of sunflowers, though the soil is sooty black, marigold and a few tomatoes right beside the railway track. And down behind the terraced houses, in between the concrete towers, there's compost heaps and scarlet runners, secret gardens full of flowers. Meter grows the scent of roses right beneath the big jet's path. Bit of fortune for her garden, Eileen turns away and laughs. So rise up, George, and wake up, Arthur. Time to rouse out from your sleep. Deck the horse in the sea green ribbons, drag the old sword from the deep. Hold the line for Dave and Daniel as they tunnel through the clay, while the oak in all its glory soaks up sun for one more day. Come all you at home with freedom, whatever the land that gave you birth, there's room for you, both root and branch, as long as you love the English earth. Room for vole and room for orchid, room for all to grow and thrive, just less room for the fat landowner on his ass in his four-wheel drive. England is not flag or empire, it is not money, it is not blood, it's limestone, gorge and granite fell, it's weald and clay and Severn mud, it's blackbird singing from the May tree, lark ascending through the scales, robin watching from your spade, and English earth beneath your nails. So here's 2 cheers for a place called England, badly used but not quite dead, and Mr. Harding, sort of England, hanging in there by a thread. Here's 2 cheers for the crazy diggers, now their hour can come around. We can sow the seed they saved us, commonwealth and common ground.
Thank you very much for watching. To find out more information about our future Tuesday Folk People sessions, please sign up to our mailing list or keep an eye on our social media and website. Our next session will be a week from today at 8 p.m. See you then.